let's go ahead and get started. I'm really excited to have Ian with us. Ian has been working for SMU for 18 years, and he's the manager of the SMU STAR program and multimedia and web development. In his spare time, you'll often find him with a camera in hand. Ian's a fantastic photographer. You've probably seen some of his shots on the SMU website. Before I turn the session over to Ian, I'm going to launch a poll so that we can gauge your familiarity with Sitecore. And you should see that on your screen. And if you'll just take a second and answer one of these questions, and we'll let this go for about a minute. This will really help Ian out as he starts today's conversation. And we've got about 77% voted. I'm going to let it go for just a few more seconds. All right, I'm going to go ahead and close this poll. And we'll look at the results. And it looks like many of you have used it frequently, about 41%, 23% have never used it, and 36% of you have used it a few times. So that really will help us as we get started, and I'm going to go ahead and turn this over to Ian.
All right, thank you all so much for being here today. Again, I'm Ian Averly. I manage multimedia and web development for academic computing. I'm glad you all can join us here today so that we can go over the basics of Sitecore. To start off with, I'm happy to see that a lot of you using Sitecore frequently, as this is the campus's now default content management system. I'm happy to see a lot of you using that. For those who are completely new to Sitecore, great. We will have stuff that will get you up and going for those intermediate and advanced users already. Hopefully you'll find a few tidbits of something that's totally new here today. So what we're going to do is start off with logging into Sitecore, and we'll get my screen shared here, and then we will be able to see what's going on. All right. So what you see right here is the login page for Sitecore. To get to Sitecore in your browser, you would just type wcmstage.smu.edu. And if you happen to just get that far and end up hitting return, what you will see is basically the staged version of the SMU website. So this is not the public side. It might look exactly like the public side at this time, but this is just our staged version. So this is where people can go and review your site before it actually gets published to the live version that is seen by the general public. So if you get this far, you might see this and you go, well, where's my login? Well, you just do need to go into the interface, and just by putting in a /Sitecore there, that will take you directly to the login window. And at this point, you can go ahead and log in with your SMU ID and password. So I'm going to go ahead and do that now. I just changed my SMU password yesterday, so hopefully this is the right one. Great. Now, when you log in, you'll probably see something a little different than this. As I'm an admin in the system, I get a different window, but what you probably will see when logging in is it'll take you directly to the content editor, which should look something exactly like, wait for it, it's going to be spectacular when you see it. Like this, great. So looks like, okay, this is going to make for an interesting presentation. It looks like Sitecore might be running a little slow today, but we're going to keep on pressing through. So this should be what you see when you log in to Sitecore. What it'll probably say is it'll by default check to the home directory, and at this point what you'll probably see is right now I see under home I can edit this page. All I need to do is log in, edit it, but you will probably see something like you do not have permissions to edit this page or something like that. But let's talk about, before we start editing anything, let's talk about the interface here. On our left-hand side here, we have all of our web content. So we have our home directory, which will be where all of our pages are stored. We have web forms, so if you want to create a form on your website, you will do that in the web forms section. You cannot use the standard build form tag like you might have in Dreamweaver or Front Page, or just any static HTML page to put a form on your web page in Sitecore. You will have to use this web forms tool here. And then there's a global section, which chances are 99.9% of you will never have to deal with, so we'll just leave that alone. On the right-hand side, this is our content. So when you're selected on one of these pages, this is where all the magic happens. So this is where we have the information about our page, what template, where's the location, this item ID, which is, so each one of these pages has a unique ID number, and that's it there. And then we have all of our content and stuff down below in this area. And this is where we're going to do all of our changes and edits to our pages. Up at the very top, this is our navigation. Each one of these tabs relates to certain areas. So the home basically gives you the default stuff for saving the pages, editing the page. Adding new pages can be all done right here. You can also duplicate, copy, and delete pages directly from this tab. The navigate will allow you to open certain directories, go up, down, go directly to home. Also favorites, which we'll come back to. The review section allows to do some basic spell checking. My items, which we will come to again. And then we'll have the workflow for the editing of the pages. If we skip to publish, this is where we'll publish our pages. So the publish section is here. We will use this for publishing any widgets, like a YouTube widget or something, or HTML widget or something like that. Then in presentation, we have our preview section. We can make screenshots. We have information for forms. And then the My Toolbar. This is my favorite tab on the whole thing because the My Toolbar I can totally customize. And so what you've seen here is my customization for My Toolbar. And after using Sitecore for several years, you can see that the most popular things I tend to hit on are the My Items, my favorites, which I mentioned earlier, changes, publish, preview, and edit buttons. So these are, after all this time, this is the area I spend most time. So I have my toolbar totally customized just as I need it. And you can do that just by hitting the customize. And then if you want to add something, say I'm going to add, let's go to template. I'm going to hit change template. I'm going to add that over, hit OK, and what will now happen is I now have this change template button in my toolbar. Again, if I just want to remove that, I can just come over here and remove that item. Simple as that to customize your toolbar. Now the reason I wanted to show you this is twofold. Is the one, I want you to get to being very familiar with using the My Items button. The My Items basically will show you everything you have checked out and working on. And so as you can see right now, I have this item checked out and working on. And if somebody else wanted to use it, they could not. So basically by the end of the day, or when I end working in Sitecore, what I want to do is go ahead and click this My Items button and unlock all. Now allow my pages to be then edited by any other people in my department or who has permissions to edit those pages. The other thing I want to show you is the favorites here, and this is going to be very helpful when navigating your site. So for example, if I'm going to set up a site in my area, so I'm going to create a new page for, in this case, the Multimedia Center, which sits right outside my office. I'm going to go to the Home button, and I'm going to browse to my section. So in this case, my page is under Business and Finance, OIT, About Us, Academic Technology Services, and Stars. There we go. And one more. There, yeah, that's good. Stars. So every time I log into Sitecore, if I want to edit my page, I would have to go through this long tree to find the page I want to work on. I don't like to spend that much time doing that, so what I would do is add it to my favorites. So right here in my favorites section, I can just click, say add to favorites. It's been added to my favorites, and next time I want to get to my site, I can simply just go to the favorites, drop down to the one I want, and it'll take me directly there. If you happen to edit multiple sites on a regular basis, as you can see I tend to, I will have all those in my favorites, and some sites I no longer work on are actually still there too. If I wanted to remove something from the favorites, I can just go to Organize, and this would allow me to select something and then go ahead and say delete, and it will remove it from my favorites. Simple as that. Now, let me ask you all a question. So the ones who are using it frequently, are you using it for your own department, multiple departments? So single page, multiple pages, multiple sites. If you can just put that into the chat right now, we can take a look. All right, great to see. So I see several departments, multiple sites, single site, department website. Great. So, so in this case, so say STARS is my department site. I want to add a new section into the STARS website. In this case, I want to highlight the CUL Multimedia Center. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and create a new page directly in this. So up in the home section, we saw there's an option there to add a page, and we just click that page and we can add it there. We can also right-click on the stars, and what you'll see is a lot of the same options that we see up in our toolbar at the top are also available here. So I can insert a page, I can duplicate pages, delete pages, rename them, all directly just by right-clicking on it. So for me, productivity-wise, I just find it easier to just right-click and insert those pages right here. So I'm going to insert my new page, and I'm going to call this MMC. And the reason I'm going to call it MMC is it's for the Multimedia Center, but also the name is short and sweet. And so when somebody goes and navigates to that site in their browser, it'll be very quick and pull up. The other thing too is what you might notice is in my directory I have tips for faculty, HNet 3360, I have project status, a lot of different sites, but what you'll notice is there's no space names. So whenever you name one of these pages, you want to make sure that you do not use any spaces, just like you would on an old static HTML website, because that will come up in the URL when they're searching for that site. So you can use hyphens, you can just remove spaces, but just try not to have any spaces in your page name. Now, so I'm going to go ahead and edit my page by creating a new page. I'm already in the edit mode. I can go ahead and give it a title. In this case, I'm going to call it CUL Multimedia Center. And What you'll notice too is there an option there for side navigation, top navigation, a banner title, a subtitle, and a browser title. So the side navigation, well, let me go ahead and let's look at the page so that we can get an idea of what it's going to look like. I'm going to preview this. It's going to ask me, do I want to save changes? Yes. And this way we can look at the different areas at the same time. And I did a quick preview, didn't I? There we go. Okay, let's see. And seem to be having a little technical difficulty there. Hold on just a second. All right, so let's go ahead and, yeah, it doesn't seem to be responding at all right now, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and quit out of Firefox and come back in. Sorry about that, folks. All right, back to my content editor. Now this is where having that favorite saved is going to come in handy. So once the page reloads, I'll be able to go ahead and just go directly to that site. All right. So if I go back to my toolbar, there's my favorites, and I just jump down to stars. And you'll see it takes me directly to that page or section. Now I can go ahead, and there's my Multimedia Center page down the bottom there. And let's try this again. I'm going to go ahead and click preview. There we go. Nice, quickly, fast, loaded right there. So this is our previewed page. It's going to take a second to load that little bit at the top. What that's loading is the overlay for doing inserting widgets and stuff, which we're going to get into just a little bit later. But what you'll see here is this is our page title. This is automatically entered here. This is our breadcrumb area, this little space right here. This is our sidebar navigation, so this is how it lists in the sidebar. And if we look at what was the last one, the browser title, that's what shows up right here. So when somebody's going to add this to the bookmarks, that's what's going to show up. So the nice thing is we can actually customize each one of these areas. So if I wanted to, say, in the sidebar, just call it the MMC, and I can give it a subtitle. Made that up. I have no idea what they call it. So then the browser title here. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to put MMC and hyphen CUL, so it kind of shows the directory of where it would be, and it's going to, if I save this, I can just reload my other tab. And what you can see here is the subtitle is right there under the CUL Multimedia Center. The MMC now shows up in the sidebar navigation, and if you look at the very top here, the the banner title shows up there. Now, right here, this part here, the SMU Stars program, this is this section here, the banner title. Now, if you're creating a, say you're creating a section for English, for all your pages underneath English, they all should have the same banner title there. So it would be English throughout the site. Even if you're doing a first year writing section under English, I would still keep the banner title as English and then use the page title to designate your subsection. It's totally up to you. There really is no set standards by public affairs, but right now that's how I would use this. So this, if I was creating another sub-site under the STARS program, in this case I would, if it was related to the STARS program, I'd keep it SMU STARS program. If this was underneath the library where it should be, it should say at the top Central University Libraries, and then it would have the Multimedia Center. And if I created one for government docs or for any other section under the library, they should still all have the same banner title. Now, by default, it's going to take whatever the parent page is. So in this case, my STARS directory, SMU STARS program is automatically populated into the banner title, and for all these subsections should show up there too. Excuse me. So for our page, I'm going to go ahead and just leave that alone, and let's go ahead and add some content here. So in this case, I have the body count. I have the body content. I'm just going to go ahead and click the Show Editor, and this will bring up a Word-like interface. So basically, if you can use Word, you should be able to handle Sitecore fairly well. Now I can go ahead and I can type directly in here whatever I want, and that's what's going to show up on my page. I didn't know you. Did y'all know I was fluent in gibberish? So I'm going to go ahead, and if I hit Save, that's what's going to show up here. Not very useful, but I'm going to go back to the Show Editor, so I'm going to go ahead and delete that, and I'm going to go ahead and put in a heading 1, heading 2, heading 3. This is just text. And so if you haven't used Sitecore before and know how things are going to turn out, I'm going to go and just hit Apply, save it again, and just come back to my preview page and hit Reload. I can get an idea of how things are going to look out. This right now is just plain text, paragraph text throughout here. But if I'm going to go ahead and see how it would look, I'm going to go ahead and just click somewhere within heading. I don't have to select the whole line or word because the heading is going to be applied to the entire paragraph. So in this case, if I hit heading 1, that'll be a heading 1, heading 2, heading 2, heading 3. This is just text. I'm going to more text there. I'm going to block quote the don't block quote me, so I'm just going to hit the over to block quote that. If I want to link this, I'm going to come back to that in a second. Now the list items, I'm going to have to select those. And again, you saw that I'm not getting right up at the front. I'm just going to select, do a pretty broad selection, and I'm just going to create a list item here. Let's just do a bullet item. And what you'll see is it's gone ahead, and the returns in between those, it's gone ahead and added a bullet item. I'm just going to go ahead and delete those. So I just come over, do delete. Great. Now if I go ahead and accept, save it, and reload my preview, you'll see how the text is all formatted. So this is our heading. Heading 2, heading 3, just plain text here, block quote, and this is how our list item will show up. Now what you'll notice is our heading 1 here tag looks exactly like the CUL Multimedia Center tag at the top, or our page title up at the top. And the reason is they're both heading 1s. Now the thing is, you should only have one heading 1 on a page. So if I'm going to go ahead and use the CUL Multimedia Center in my page title, here I should not have another heading 1 anywhere else on my page. Now if I wanted to use the heading within the body of my page, I can do that, but what I need to do is click this little checkbox down the bottom called Hide Page Title. Now if I save this and reload my preview, what you'll see is it's gone up at the top, including not only is the heading gone, but also the subheading underneath it. So now I have one heading 1 on my page, the heading 2, heading 3, heading 4s, 5s, whatever, you can have as many as you want. But the heading 1, there should only be one heading 1 on the page. All right. So, great. So I got some headings, I got some text. Now let's go ahead and start formatting this like an actual page. So a lot of our sites have been come over from other older pages, and it just so happens I happen to have in my other browser here the content for the Multimedia Center page. I'm just going to go ahead and select all and copy it. And when I come over to Sitecore and paste it, what you'll notice is it will paste it in, but if I look at the HTML, it's gone ahead and brought everything in as a just a plain text with a line return after each one. I'm going to go ahead and delete that. I can bring it in saying that it's from Word, and I'll strip out any font. So if you're bringing something over from Word, you can actually paste it into here, hit paste, and I'll bring it over again. And again, it doesn't do a very good job with the text there either. One great way when migrating a site from an older one is you just paste it into the plain text editor, brings it in. Again, same thing. So if you happen to have a current website already, in this case this one here, if I view the page source or if I have access to the old page and front page or something like that, I can actually save myself a lot of time by viewing the page source or bringing in the source HTML and using that. So I'm going to go ahead and I don't have... Sorry, this is not my browser, so I'm missing a, there we go, missing one little button. All right, so if I go to show the page source, here's my page source, and I can just select that, copy it, paste that into the HTML tab, and I'll bring over all the nice formatting with it. So I can save time so I don't have to go ahead and force it all. But if I did, I'm just going to set everything back to a paragraph or normal. I can again just come back here and I can say, okay, that's going to be a heading 2, and this is going to be heading 3, and, or sorry, that should be a heading 2, and this one also will be a heading 3, so not also, but in addition. And I want to add a link here, and I'm going to go ahead and clear out any link formatting there. Great. All right, so let me just save this real quick. Accept, save, reload my page. There we go. So you can see all the nice styles and formatting are being applied. And now what I want to do is link this to information about the Adobe Creative Cloud. So if I go back to my show editor, I can select what I want to highlight or what I want to link, and I can click the link tool. Now there's, if you notice, this one also has the universal symbol for linking. And if I happen to find, oh, I want to link this to where, say, smu.edu. What this will do is it will go out, search for that site, and find it. Same thing if I go even deeper. The problem with that is if it's something on our SMU website that is already in Sitecore, if somebody changes the name or changes name as in renaming the page, moves the page, anything like that, what will happen is that link will break. So if you're linking to something within the SMU website, what you want to do is hit the Insert Sitecore link. And what this will do is allow you to browse the directory and find the page that you want to link to. I'm just going to link it to the help section here. It will also allow you to link to media items too, so I can actually link that directly to an image or a PDF. But in this case, I'm just going to link into the help section. I hit link. It's going to create that link. Now remember at the beginning I showed you this unique item ID up here. What it's going to do is create a link to that item ID. So that way if the page moves, gets renamed, as long as that item ID stays the same, your page is going to stay linked to that. So if you happen to want to just save time and link directly to the URL, what will happen is you might find those links break. But if you do it this way, the links will always stay working. Now if you're going to link to a certain external site, such as YouTube or something like that, yes, you can use the hyperlink manager. But if you're just going to link to something already in the SMU website, I would use the Insert Sitecore link tool. All right. So there's kind of the basics there of creating your page, adding links to get you going. Now what we want to do is let's jazz it up a little bit by adding some images. So I'm going to go and click on my Media Library tab, and it's going to bring me into my media library. With the recent update, just 2 weeks ago, there's now this search tool that's been added. I'm just going to stick with my folder though for training's sake, and I'm going to browse to my site. This again is a long list here. You might see only the sites you have access to, but again, since I'm an admin, I'm going to see everything here. So you might have a little easier time navigating to your site, but I'm going to go ahead and go to Site, Business Finance, OIT, About, Academic Technology, Stars. There we go. And again, I can also, in my favorites, I can add a favorites to this, and I can then jump to that favorite. So there's my stars folder. These folders mean that those signify that that's a folder in the media library. So I can jump to that section, and I'm going to upload a couple files that I want to use on my site. I'm just going to create a new folder for this one, just so that I can clean it up easier later on, but it also is nice to be organized. All right, what we see here in our media library is we see a way to upload files advanced, and create a new folder. Upload file will allow you to quick browse through your file, quick upload, and boom, it's there. I'm going to tell you right now, I never use that. I hate that tool. I wish it would go away. And the reason why is this. If I quick upload files advanced, it's going to allow me, one, to browse, find my files, and in this case I have the files I want to use. I can actually select multiple files at one time and click open. But this is the shining star. This is why it really works. It allows you to, when you're uploading, add alternate text. So if somebody comes to your site with a screen reader and needs to see what's there, you can actually add the text that will show up in their screen reader. This is purely for accessibility, and it's a great thing, and everybody should be having alternate text on their images. So in this case, I have my first one is my Multimedia Center logo. My next one is Multimedia Center Pano, the student studying. There can be spaces in your alternate text. There we go. All right, and all right. The other neat thing about uploading through this advanced feature, say I upload this, I get it up, and all of a sudden they realize, oh, you know what, we don't want the Multimedia Center red logo, we want the Multimedia Center blue logo. Or we've gone ahead and we've changed our logo completely. It's still red, but we've changed the look and feel. Well, as long as it's named the exact same thing, I can actually click this override existing media items, and what it will do is replace the file in the media library. The benefit of that is if I have that logo placed in 30 different sections on my website, it will replace it in the 30 different sections in my website. I don't have to go back, upload the new file, and then go to each page and reinsert it. So as long as it's named the same thing and you click that override existing media items, it will replace it. So I'm going to go ahead and just click upload. And it's going to upload those files very slowly. There we go. Wonderful. So I can see all those are uploaded. If I happen to upload, I'm going to go ahead and, in this case, delete this one here. Yep. I'm going to go and delete it by right-clicking on it and say delete. And I'm going to use the regular upload file and click open. Oh, hey. New update. So you can't, there it goes. Unless you're a really fast typer, you're not going to be able to put in that alternate text. But as you can see, I get that warning, and that warning is because the doesn't have an alt tag. You can see the highlight right there. It's flagging it as no alt. All right. If I wanted to, I can actually log in edit. I can put in that and hit save. There we go. And now it's cleared all of my warnings. Great. So let's go ahead and start using these images. So I'm going to go back to my content editor. Now I'm just going to say it's running a little slow on my system. results may vary. You might find that on your system it's going to run just fine. Now I'm using Firefox right now, and if I wanted to, I can also use Safari, but I just find Firefox works a little bit better. And in this case, I'm on a Mac, so you might find that using IE on Windows works faster or better, or whatever for you. But it's pretty compatible with all the browsers. So just happens to be very slow today. All right, so I'm going ahead and I'm going to go back to my body content and click my show editor. I'm going to go ahead and insert that logo into my page here. So I'm just going to click right before the what you need to know, and there's that little icon there that says insert Sitecore Media. Now what this is going to do is it's going to bring me up to my media folder here, and I'm going to be able to browse again for my thing. My logo. Now in this case, I did make, remember, a favorites for the stars folder. Unfortunately, I can't use that in this window. So again, I will have to browse directly for it. So luckily I know where it is. It's in Site, Business and Finance, OIT. Let's see, Academic Technology, stars. There we go. And there's my Sitecore Basics. So I'm going to click on this logo. Great. Now it says the height and width right here. I can actually go ahead if I wanted to and change that right now. So when I'm inserting it, say I just need it, I'm going to make it a little bit smaller. I'm going to make it 300 pixels. What you'll notice is it will automatically change the height to correspond. So I can go ahead and insert that. There we go. Great. Not quite where I want to place it, so I'm just going to right-click on that image, and I'm just going to allow me to edit the properties for that image. In this case, I'm going to tell it I want to align to the right. And right now, I have, if you look at the image, there is some fairly good padding to the sides of the image. That little box shows you the image space. But if you had a photograph or something with a photo that went right up to the edges, you might want to add a little bit of a margin to the left or right of it as needed, so the text doesn't bump up right against that photo. So in that case, if I happen to add another image, I'm going to put one down here. Let's use that. Oh boy. And there we go. Say these student studying. I'm going to use that one. 600. It's still a little bit. I'm just going to bring it down to 300. Oh, not 30. 300. Insert. And in this case, I'm going to say I want it to float to the left. Click OK. As you can see, my list is butting up right against that. So again, I'm going to give it a little more space on the right here. I'm going to say 20 pixels. Click OK. Great. Accept. Save it. Preview it. There it goes. There's my logo. There's my other image. All right. One other thing I want to do is go ahead and place this banner image at the top. So this would be a great space if you were designing for your little subsection. You still wanted, as I mentioned earlier, if we wanted Central University Libraries as our banner across the top, this is a great area where you can actually customize. You put that banner image on it, you would say Multimedia Center on that to customize it for your section or subsection of your department's page. But in this case, I'm just going to go ahead and browse for my header image, and I happen to have, again, I can browse all the files here. This is the new Select Media window that we get for this area, and I'm going to happen to, I think I call it, let me see, CUL. Let's see if I find it. Actually can't remember what I called it. Let's see, there's that. Oh, I know, it's under Multimedia Center. There it is. This is great. So this allows you to actually quickly find those files, getting them up and organized in the beginning, and then as long as you name them properly, you can easily find them. I'm going to go ahead and select, oops, wrong button there. Where'd I go? There we go. Select that one. Select the media. Great. Save it. Reload it. There's my new banner. Nicely done. All right. Now, if I wanted to make this site available for somebody else to use or look at to preview before we go public, what I want to do is click on my, let's go under the Reviews tab. I have it in my toolbar, but just so you know where to find it, is under the Review tab. I'm going to stage this, and what that will do is it will put a copy of it on the stage server. And if I took this URL here and sent that to somebody, they're not going to see it because they can't preview the page. But once it's staged, if I come over here and save time, there's a neat little trick. If I click on the name of my page, there we go. This is the staged version right here. That's the path. So I'm going to copy that. I'm going to go to my other browser. This browser, I'm not logged into Sitecore. I'm going to paste that into there, and that way I can preview what they're going to see when the site is staged. Now, on my version, look, everything looks fine. But on that stage version, what am I missing? I'm missing my images. So what I want to make sure I do is publish those images. So I'm going to go back to my folder in Sitecore, go back to my media library. I'm just going to click on this folder here, and I'm going to go to my publish. I'm going to say publish item. I'm going to publish all the stuff, and in this case, since I'm in my media library, and only because I'm in my media library, I'm going to say go ahead and make it public. That will save me time later on. You would do the same thing for widgets. Widgets have to be published also, and we're going to see one of those next within the next 10 minutes. And I'm going to publish that. Now, while that's working its magic, besides images, what kind of other things would you all like to see embedded on your web pages? YouTube videos, PDF files, things like that? Go ahead and just leave a comment right there in our chat window. All right, so that's now been published, and so if I go back to my PDF files, video, great, we're going to get to those. All right, I'm going to go ahead and reload that. Perfect. There is my Multimedia Center logo is now there. There's my other image. And what you'll notice also, too, is my navigation is missing. I lost my banner image, or my header image, and my navigate. That's because of the window size. It's now, after a certain size, it says, oh, you must be on a mobile device. If I go ahead and stretch that out, what will happen is, there we go. There's my banner, and there's all my navigation. But even in this smaller size, the navigation is all right here. There we go. Banner image returned. Okay. So we previewed that. We are now going to do, let's go ahead, and I have some widgets here. I'm going to go ahead and add a widget. I'll be talking a lot more about widgets in the HTML for Sitecore class. We're going to talk a little bit more about widgets and customizing the look and feel of our page, getting into that nitty-gritty HTML area in 2 weeks. But in this case, I'm going to go to my widget here, and I'm going to add a YouTube. I'm going to add a YouTube video. So I'm just going to click on the HTML block, and I'm going to call this arrow, because I already know what I'm using, and I'm going to use a hyphen here and YouTube just so I know where it's coming from. Click OK. So this HTML widget will allow us to embed raw HTML code into our Sitecore page. If we were to do an iframe or an embed tag in the HTML in the editor on a regular web page, that's all going to get stripped out. This is going to retain that information. So in this case, I have this YouTube video for Arrow that I would like to embed on my page. And so I'm going to go ahead and click on the share, and I'm going to click on the embed, and I'm going to change the size. I'm going to say custom size. And I happen to know in my sidebar area, this little area here, I'm going to want it to be about 220 pixels wide. It's not very big, but that's okay. So I'm going to go ahead and put in 220. It's going to automatically enter that information there, and I'm going to grab this iframe code, go back to my browser. I'm just going to click on the show editor, and I'm just going to click on the HTML area and paste that in. There it is. There's my YouTube code. So you see this is the YouTube video. It's saying embed. This is the unique ID for that video, and this is the height and width. Go ahead and accept. Oh, there it is. Perfect. And I'm going to go ahead and save it. Now on my preview, I'm going to use this preview to add that widget into the page. So if I click on this little drop down here, you can see it now brings up this menu, another little menu. I can click edit, and this is going to allow me to edit directly in this WYSIWYG preview. This little what you see is what you get. It's going to load. Now the reason I'm doing this is I can put it into the exact section I need to insert it. And in this case, I'm going to embed that YouTube video right here under my side navigation. So I'm going to click Component New and add that widget here. Now widgets are basically anything that we can't normally do within the page. So these are going to be like adding little news blocks, side navigations, doing a slideshow. Those kind of things are all widgets. And in this case, I'm just going to add an HTML block. Let's go ahead and open up the properties as soon as I do it. Select. There it is. Now I can create a new widget directly from here if I wanted to, but we've already created one, so I'm just go to existing. Again, I'm going to have to browse for my content. And scroll down here. Stars. And there's my Arrow YouTube. Click OK. Great. So this is, I can enter this in manually in another area, but this is just click OK. Everything's good. All right, and now I'm just going to save it. Go ahead and close that. Go back to my page. So let's stage that page with that new little widget. Come on, Sitecore, don't fail me now. All right, let's go ahead again to the review, stage it. Now, can anybody tell me what's not going to happen? What am I missing? As soon as I hit that stage and review it, my widget's not here. And the reason is I didn't publish that widget. So I'm going to go back to the YouTube widget, go to publish, publish it. Sure, why not? Let's make it live. Finish. And there it is. So now I can start watching that YouTube widget or YouTube video right there on my page. They can maximize it if they need to go full screen. There we go. So you can embed it. It's not, you can put it basically wherever you want on the page. You can have it up at the top. You can have it down the bottom. In this case, I just kind of want it off to the side to just showcase it. So there we go. So we've had basics of Sitecore. We've added a page. We have inserted images, uploaded images, added a widget. The only thing we didn't upload is something like a PDF file. But if you have some questions, we have a little time here to go over some questions. So, all right. Let's see, Beth. On the stage version, so Beth asks, on the stage version of the Multimedia Center page, the MMC link appears twice on the side navigation. Why is that? Excellent question. MMC actually appears twice. That is an excellent question that I do not have the answer for. I think that's a bug, to be honest. Let's see, let me reload the page. Interesting, where's that one take me? Oh, hey, that's why. Sorry, this is from my test earlier. The old YouTube video is there, so I had actually created a Multimedia Center page, and so I didn't delete it and restage the parent page, so that's why it's showing up again. But yeah, it's because there was a previous Multimedia Center page that I deleted and just didn't restage everything. But if I click on my stars page here and go ahead and restage that, I bet it'll drop out. Let's see if I can do that. Yeah, there we go. See, just the one now. All right, sorry about that. That's my little gotcha there. All right, there's a question here about how do I change the text color on the page? Please don't do that. Just plain simple. So the marketing and public affairs has come up with a unique look and feel for our sites. All the colors are designated and set by their style sheet. So we don't want people going in and making, oh, let's make everything blue now. So that you're kind of restricted from doing that on purpose. But we will cover in the HTML for Sitecore class, we will cover a couple ways to actually make things pop and have alerts and things like that to give your page a little more pizzazz. But yeah, let's try not to start changing all the heading colors. Again, the warning under a photo mean and how do you fix it? So in the media library, that warning basically means that the page does not have a alt tag, and so all you do is you can edit it, add that alt tag in, and then you can save it and it will add that alt tag. And again, you can just solve that problem by adding that in when you upload the files. Now, while we're here on our page, once I'm done with my page, I've staged it, I got it all ready. The one last thing I want to do is check it back in. So I'm going to go ahead and check this in, and that's going to make the page available for somebody else to edit. Again, I can also do that under the My Items, and I'll show all the things that I have checked out. So in this case, the stars page, the arrow YouTube widget, I can unlock those and I'll check those back in too. If I want to come back and edit that page, all I have to do is click the lock and edit, and then I will be able to edit that page. Now, if you do not see that button, and it says you cannot, it will probably say something as you do not have permissions to edit that page. It's just that you don't have permissions to edit that page, as simple as that. All right, can you talk about when you'd use the check and submit options under review? Okay, so the submit, so the stage will put it on the stage area, and that will make it available for people to review. So you would give them that URL from the stage, and then they can go and check out that page. Now the thing about the stage is it's a quick review thing. So I would, if I state something, I'd say please look at this within the next 48 hours because there's no guarantee that that's going to stay there. It can be dropped off by a publish from any of the parent directories. If there's a publish all, it will wipe out all those staged items. So the stage is for review. When you're actually ready to take this live and make it available for everybody, you would hit the submit, and that will make the page live for the public to see. So no longer will I just have to go to this, I will actually go to www, and I will be able to see that page. In this case, it's not there, so we don't have to worry about that. Okay, there we go. So one last thing, I guess I'm going to do this real quick. I'm going to make a PDF file. Because it was asked about having PDFs, and so I've saved a PDF there. I'm going to go to my media library. And I'm going to upload that file. There it is. Oops, doesn't have an extension on it. Sorry about that. It should have a .pdf. There we go. All right, I'm going to upload that file. All right. PDF files, though they're in our media library, we cannot embed those into our page. But what we can do is we can link to them. So once that's in our media library, I'll go ahead and click back on my content editor. Again, I'm going to have to lock the page to edit it. I'm just going to come down here to show editor, and I'm going to hyperlink this part here. So in this case, I'm going to insert a Sitecore link. I'm going to click on my media items. And unfortunately, we don't get that search bar version here, so I'm going to navigate the site. You all probably can think about the path in your head. I've said it so many times, but there it is. And there's my source directory, my Sitecore Basics. And there's the Multimedia Center. So I'm going to go ahead and link to that. Click Accept. Save it. And now if I just go ahead and preview my page, there it is. So if I click on that, it will load that PDF file right there. Any other questions? We have a few more minutes here. If you currently don't have access, we talked before about when you clicked on a link or something in here and it said you do not have permissions to get access. If you need access to a site, all you have to do is submit a help ticket. Just go to help.smu.edu, click open ticket, and you can submit that and get access. You will need to include your supervisor so that they can approve that in your request, but that's how you would get access to the Sitecore section. One other thing here I want to show real quick is this navigation system over in the navigation here. One of the best parts about Sitecore that I love is the navigation is automatically built within Sitecore. I don't have to go and try to build out this sidebar. It's automatically done for me just by me inserting that link in the page. Now, if you want to highlight something or have it higher up in the top or organize these, you can do that by right-clicking on your file, and you can do a move or sort to move it up or down in the directory. It's going to take a little, I right-clicked and thinking about it, or not. There we go. And so I can do sort, and I can say, oh, you know what, sort first, sort last. I can do that. I can also click and drag, and what you'll see is you'll get that little bar, that little teeny blue bar, and that's going to say, oh, when I drop it, it's going to be in that location. So if I wanted to bring this down towards the bottom, I can just drop that right there. It's going to say, are you sure you want to move that? I say, okay. And then if I hit preview, what you'll see is it's now down here. So you can actually organize those files in your directory. You don't have to deal with the alphabetical order. All right. Okay, so somebody was asking if you started building this page and it was not staged or published, and you were to keep working on the page and save it, or published, could be overwritten or published by public directory. The answer is actually yes, unfortunately. If somebody in a parent directory did a publish all, and this does happen on occasion, content can be published to the server and be made live. One of the ways to stop that from happening is if you're trying to create a new site or something you don't want to happen or become public at any point for a while, is there is an area under the publish section to change the restrictions, and in this case you can say the target is only the stage. That will help keeping it from being publicly made available to everybody. And then only, the thing is, when you want to make it live, you will have to remember to go back in and choose that. If you dealt with something that already has been published, there are instructions in the on the wiki that is mentioned in our materials section, and you'll find how to get to that documentation. Also want to remind you there's a link right there too for our to our next session on July 22nd for HTML Sitecore for Basics. There's a link right there to go ahead and register. So if you've enjoyed this section, I highly recommend you just go ahead and click that now and get that registered. And I guess we have time for about one more question. Publish first and submit. Oh, you know what? There's two questions, and I can tie these actually together. So there's a question about what's the difference between publish and submit. The publish is used mostly now for doing widgets or new sites that haven't been published before. So if I wanted to create a whole new subsection, I might need to publish it and then go ahead and stage it. But usually staging or hitting the submit will make that live. The publish now is really restricted, and that's a workflow issue. The publishing is really now for doing widgets, and if you make any changes to images or create a new image directory in the multimedia in the media library, you will have to publish those. But so images, widgets are publish, submitting should be fine for all of your pages. And does locking the page prevent it from being published? So if you have a page checked out, can it be published? The answer is I honestly don't know. I'll have to look into that, but I know it will prevent other people from editing. I think it does prevent it from being published, but it also prevents it from being edited by anybody else on your group. So if you happen to go on vacation and leave everything checked out to keep it from being published, if somebody does need to go make a change, it will also prevent them from getting in and making a change too. So best tip I can have for you is to go ahead and before the end of the day, click on that My Items and check everything in, or unlock all. Thank you so much for attending this webinar. I'm Ian Aberly with Academic Computing. Hope to see you all on the 22nd for HTML Basics for Sitecore. I appreciate you all for taking the time to spend with me. I'm going to now return this over to Lorene. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. And if you have any questions that you think about later, you can send them to ittraining@smu.edu, and we will get those to Ian. Thank you very much. Adios, and we hope to see you on the 22nd. Bye-bye.
Muted.